Okay, welcome to the Armourgeddon workshop. This is our latest vehicle, the M3 Lee. Fetched her in from Australia 5-6 months ago, and we've had a fair few other projects on the go, so we're only literally just getting on to starting the rebuild. We have though already stripped her out. There's virtually nothing inside now. All the bits have been taken out, ready for sandblasting and repair, as you can see by this great big pile of parts here. Already got the tracks split. Next job is to pull this back, get the tracks off, and then we can get on with doing the running gear. All the wheels have got to be replaced, with all the rubbers on them. We have new tyres for them, but it's actually quite a big job to do these. The old girl weighs in at around 30 tonnes, so anything to do with anything on it is heavy work.
So we've got the M3 Lee coming out. Now the Sexton's gone. Got a little bit of room in the workshop, so dragging her out, getting the tracks off. Ready to start some work on the wheel stations. Get her looking nice and tidy. Everything's moving nice and freely, which is good to see. Like a glove.
Okay, so we're going to go into a bit more detail in a minute about with the inside of the vehicle, the engine bay, and I'll show you around so you get a feel for what it's actually like inside this vehicle at the moment. Okay, here we are on the inside of the Lee. You've got your 75mm gun here. This particular one's live. When we've got it eventually finished, we'll have to blank fire this one. She's got a gyroscopic stabiliser system on the front there. All the elevation, all the traverses here. She's pretty complete. Quite unusual to find them in this kind of state. If you think you would have had a 7-man crew in here, you would have your driver, your radio operator, your gun aimer here, and your loader would have stood back here, directly above the escape hatch. Okay, there would be your escape hatch just here. We've obviously removed it at the moment, but if all else failed, that's another way out of the vehicle if it was if you took a hit. You would also had a turret on the top up here, basket in here, and you would have 3 members of crew in the turret. Obviously all that's been removed at the moment, and this is just a blank canvas for us to get on with. We're going to be sandblasting, some welding to be done, a few holes in the floor, a few parts to replace, but basically she's in very good condition. This particular one has had the 2 machine gun ports up the front there welded up. They were removed because they apparently weren't such a good hot idea, and the R1 has got 2 water canisters fitted there instead. They'll all be put back in. We've got those in very good condition. As you can see by this is a riveted hull, so all these rivets all the way around. It's the way they built them in the time. But what they found is when they took a hit from the outside, if it didn't penetrate, it actually burst these rivets off, and they'd fly around inside the vehicle and injure the crew or kill the crew. So what they've done with this one is they've welded every one of the rivets in place to try and stop that from happening. Okay, you can see with the gun, you've got your elevation and your traverse. Everything is working, but it needs a good oiling. It's very stiff, but basically she's all there. Driver would have sat here. Obviously the seat's been removed, but the driver would have straddled, this is the gearbox, would have straddled that, and you can just imagine, in the desert, which was where these were first used, this would have been a horrendous place to sit. This gets absolutely red hot when it's done any kind of miles. Okay, here we are in the engine bay of the Lee. Engine would have sat here, fuel tanks either side, and the sponsons, and also vertical fuel tanks there. Had about 180 gallons of petrol inside all of the tanks, and the radial engine was originally an aircraft engine, but they fitted them to these. I think she did about 120 miles to 1 full tank of fuel, so 120 miles to 180 odd gallons of petrol. Quite a thirsty old beast. Originally designed for an aircraft, so she sits quite high. We'll show you the radial engine in a minute. That was one of the downfalls of this. Kept the vehicle quite high, so it was obviously a taller target. And being petrol, if anything came in here, if they were hitting the back, these things had a habit of catching fire, and you can imagine with 180 gallons of fuel on here, would go up pretty quick. All this has been stripped out, ready for sandblasting, and then start rebuild. Okay, here's the engine. This is the one we actually took out of the Lee. We don't think she's done a great deal of work. She looks in a bit of a state at the moment. We've got to replace all the wiring, new plugs, etc. Tim's going to be doing that, and he's really the man who's best to tell you a little bit about this engine. So I'll pass you on to Tim for that one.
Right, this is the engine that we've removed from the Lee. It's a Wright Cyclone R975C1, which is a 400 horsepower, 9-cylinder radial, supercharged petrol engine. We've got various strip downs to do on it to make sure that it's still in good condition on the insides. Check the valves, check the pistons, check the rings, and also check all the carburetors and the electrics and wiring. The HT leads and wiring will be all replaced, the same with the magneto wiring and any other that needs sorting. The carburetor has got to be rebuilt, and we need to find a new generator for it, if anybody happens to have one.
Okay, here's all the bits that have got to go back in. Here's the 37mm gun. This is the one that came with the vehicle. Ignore the armour around the side there, that was for a show we put that on. So she's got to be put back together again, completely live gun again, hopefully be blank firing that. Some of the bits are taken out of it. This is the ammo container for the 37mm. You can see you've got AP, armour piercing, high explosive and canister rounds, all 37mm. Needs a little bit of repair, but basically she's not in too bad a nick. This is the basket. This is where your 3 crew members would have sit that control the 37mm gun, and where the commander would sit. You would have 3 people in this little area here. All the ammo cases around the side there, carrying it. Not in bad condition. A few days work just to square her up and sort her out, but basically she's all there. Okay, and here are all the parts that have got to go back into the inside of that vehicle there. You've got your ammo cases there for the 75mm gun. You've got your traverse box, exhaust pipes, boxes and boxes of gauges and comms equipment. Little Joe generators there, all the vehicles were fitted with those to charge the batteries when the main engine wasn't running. Water tanks, seats, you name it, it's all here, and it's all got to go back inside that vehicle.